Hello everyone, this is Planckera, and welcome to my universe. So, I was looking at this today, and I continue to be a little bit worried that her head might be a little bit fat here. Basically, there's something that feels a little off proportionally. I'm not quite sure what it is, so I gotta figure that out. And hello there, Ferrari kid. Welcome. So that is the first order of business here. I want to figure out what feels wrong about her face. It's always really sad to me whenever I find a problem with the face after kind of doing a bunch of work on the hair, but it is what it is. So I'm going to stare at this for just a second here. Think about it. Okay, I have some ideas. So first I think I want to lift up her nose just a little bit here. The mouth there is super exaggerated. I think I want to give her just a little bit more chin. Okay, yeah, that helped a little. Didn't really help with the potential thickness problem, but I do think that helped a little. Alright, and while I think about this, just want to let everybody know that I learned out how to clear all the bot followers that I had on Twitter, so I went ahead and did that. If you are a pre-debut VTuber and you want to say hi and follow me and stuff, that's fine, I don't mind, but I get, like, so many bot follows from pre-debut VTubers that I'm probably just gonna start blocking them by default. So, if you're advertising that you're pre-debut, and you want to say hi, drop me a message or something, just so I don't immediately block you. it just happens so often that I don't want to, oops, wrong button. I don't want to think about it anymore, so please do just let me know that you're an actual person and not a bot. Okay, yeah, there we go. That's a little bit better. That side just going out a bit far. I think that was probably some leftovers from when I was going for a more fisheye perspective. Well, thank you for introducing yourself. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, at this point, I think I had so many bot followers on Twitter that it was probably affecting people's ability to see anything I posted, so I learned how to clean it out, so I decided to go ahead and do it. I'd like it if more people saw the stuff that I make, because I like the stuff that I make. I think it's pretty alright. Okay, and if that's all I have to fix on the hair, you know, that's great. Yeah, it was literally like half my followers. So, part of me is perhaps a little bit sad, but you know, now I can start a little bit cleaner, and maybe I'll be able to have an honest count of my own growth, instead of just going there and saying, oh look, someone new is following me. I wonder what they do, and just saying like, oh, you're a GFX artist, or you're a pre-debut VTuber that doesn't post anything and just reposts a bunch of random stuff. Yeah, okay, sure. Look, man, it's rough. It's the brain worms can get to you after a while, and when you just see that, it's really sad, actually. It reminds me, for a while I was trying to do art commissions, but I would only get messages from either bots or people trying to scam me, possibly both at the same time, and it was just so depressing that I just shut it down and I stopped trying to take commissions. Seriously, it was absolutely destroying me mentally. Just the idea that the only time people was interested in the stuff I was making was because they were trying to scam something out of me, and I just couldn't deal with it anymore. So it's unironically why I don't do commissions. And then the other half of me trying to get involved with freelance places and applying to like 50 different jobs and getting 0 replies. That did a number on me too. So I perhaps a little bit upset with bot mills. So it is what it is, but I'm glad that I figured out how to just clear them out, because I didn't know how to do that, because I am a total boomer when it comes to social media. I have no idea how to use these things. But now I know how to do that, so now I can get a reasonable reflection of my own growth, and it's fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. But anyway, I'm just gonna smooth out the... Oh, I see. So that's what I'm seeing. Okay, I better undo what I just did then. Okay, cool. So no, everything is actually still pretty smooth here. Because I only did the upper part of her hair for the time being. So I only did up here. So I guess I can... Yeah, I think it looks all right now. And with all this in there, that should be okay. Once I clean that up. So yeah, I think it's looking pretty all right. I mean, the proportions on it may be a little extreme, but that's kind of what I was going for. Her head does feel a little bit small now. Okay. I think it's a good way to be. I want to try to be a little bit more consistent. So I want to start posting more speed paints and stuff. I'd like to try to grow the channel a little bit. So I do plan on doing that. Ended up not starting today, just because I wanted to do a little bit of writing, and it went... I don't know, decently well, I suppose. Okay, I need to extend the hair a little bit more. Still got a few problems here. I am working on a comic. I want to kind of get the story wrangled before I start doing too much in terms of art. Just because, yeah. I have found when it comes to, like, a lot of amateur comic making and stuff, since it's so easy to just publish on the internet now, that if you don't plan your story, it's... There's a lot of ways that it can just kind of go wrong, and so I'm kind of preparing for that. I want to have the story written before I start illustrating it. Or at the very least, enough of it done that I know exactly where it's going. And all that. So, I'm just working on the writing end. That's the side that I'm less confident in. I'm pretty sure I can handle the art. So I think I'll be fine in that regard. So, I'm just doing my best, trying to get the whole thing written, and I'll go from there. It's okay, someday I'll figure out all these head proportions. Look, this entire thing, I had a viewer. He does a great job, and makes some of the most poignant metaphors I've ever seen, and I like stealing them. But he described it as a Rubik's Cube of proportion. Very accurate. So, sometimes I still kind of feel like I gotta fight it a little. God, I wish I had any... I wish I knew what I was doing. 'Cause I don't. So I wish it was that easy. But no, it's better described as just a maelstrom of internal screaming. I just got a general idea, and I was like, okay, so what is this idea trying to tell me, and what could I do with it? And for this story that I'm working on, it's mostly surrounding a character I felt like writing. So I thought about what her story would be about and kind of went from there. And I am still somewhat new to everything. I am much more... that's why I say I'm much more confident on the art end than I am the writing end. I think I have a pretty good introduction. I have a decent idea of where I'm going now. I'm not quite sure how to turn it into things the characters do yet. And that's kind of what I've been trying to get a better handle on. It sounds weird when I put it like that, because that's not exactly correct either, but I can probably leave it at that for now. It's a... man. I'm so terrible at trying to describe things. I'm not sure if the hero's journey is necessarily appropriate for this one, but basically. It's not a bad way to put it. Let me see. I want to reduce the opacity of this a little bit so I can see where the frill is. That's why I say, you know, when it comes to actually writing stories, I'm a relative beginner. Most of the writing I've done in the past has been via, like, role-playing and stuff. So I'm pretty confident in my characters and my world building. But until now, most of the actual, like, plot and story bits have been improvisational. And I want to have a little bit more control over where I'm going. And so I'm trying to figure out how all that works in my head. And I have largely become convinced that all creativity is just varying degrees of black magic. I think it's true for art. I think because a lot of what I do for art is I look at it, I'm just like, okay, what kind of things do I want to accomplish with this picture, and what do I want it to look like? I don't know if I like this. Let's use the liquefy tool, try something else, or transform this. I'll try putting this over here. I feel like there needs to be something here, so let's go plop something there. And it's all, you know, very loose. And I am glad, so very glad, that I have art to kind of compare it to, and, you know, something art that I'm already relatively good at. So anytime I feel a little bit stuck, I'm just like, yeah, this is like when I know I need something here, but I don't know what it should be. Or I don't like this color, but I don't know why. And that kind of thing. I have something I can relate the feeling to, so I don't get weird brainworms and think about giving up. Okay, there we go. Her head feels better now. I think it's sitting on her shoulders decently. I'm gonna give myself a moment to try to think about how to describe some of the stuff that I'm doing. But I suppose you could say that since I started from a character... Ah, hello there, Fishlin. Welcome. Yeah, so, since I started from a character, I guess you could say that I kind of started the story via themes and the ideas behind this character that I think are interesting. I have tried many a thing. So I'm yeah, trying to think in terms of like character themes. Okay, hello, fishy. And where I want to go with that, and kind of what ideas I want to talk about. I think I have some pretty good ones. So, part of it started from stuff that I thought might be cool for them to do, and I just kind of run around in circles somewhat. Describing it as in circles is not quite right, because I am making progress, but it does feel very circular. I get one idea there, and then I try to connect it with something else. These aren't necessarily scenes. Sometimes they're just other ideas I think might be interesting. Sometimes they're scenes. And recently I found that one particular idea I think was just not jiving with everything else, so I'm trying to figure out how to replace it. And various things like that. And what it should be instead. That's kind of what I rambled about today. Kind of hammered out the general story structure in my head. Except on paper. Well, on computer. Okay, I just want to make sure her head is sitting on her shoulders correctly here. The Rubik's Cube of proportions continues to get me. Oh, very nice. It's okay. I think both digital and traditional artists can learn a lot from each other. In the end, I don't think that they're that different. It's just a different tool. I do like digital, though. Okay, how do I feel about things now? But don't mind me. Me and the Ferrari kid have just been talking about writing because I want to write a comic. And I am flailing somewhat because I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I was thinking about, drawing some more stuff off stream today, but I really want to get this going. Because at some point, I'd really like to do character designs on stream. That sounds fantastic. And I want to be a little bit further along before I do. Mostly because I'm bribing my brain, and I'm saying, no, we're not going to do this fun thing until you sit down and write the dang story, damn it. Hello there, Cakes. Welcome back. Okay, I think the head is sitting on her shoulders properly now. Do I feel like her head is long? A little bit. I think it's probably just the mouth. So I'm gonna make it just a little tiny bit smaller. And adjust her jawline a little bit. Okay, let's see. Her body is a little bit in the way here. I actually plan to draw all of Faye's Saga around their debuts, but I am really slow at drawing. So, I drew Malice Evermore first. And Bibi here is second, and I do plan to draw the rest of them. And maybe I'll be done by their anniversary. We'll see how it works out. But I had this particular style that I wanted to try out, where I do the heavy black shadows like this. I think it's very cool. Okay, I want to make her body just slightly smaller to compensate for that. But there we go. I think that looks better. I think I have fixed my proportions. Oh, thank you very much. I like it a lot, too. I'm gonna keep doing it, so I do plan to do all of Fae's Saga. I will also do Anya, since she is set to debut before I finish the set, so... there's no way I'm gonna finish, you know, this one and then 3 more by the time she debuts. Oh, hello there, Kuhaku. Welcome back. So, yes, I will do Anya, too. Alright. And I still think that the hair mostly looks good here. It looks like I got a couple of places to patch up a little. And I think I will actually do this front hair and her side hair together. Yeah, it doesn't look blurry. So I think that'll be great. Well, I'm glad you picked mine. It's lovely having you here. Alright, I'm gonna invert the color real quick, so we're gonna have a brief blue hair Bibi here, while I kind of figure out where her hair on the lower layer should be sitting. Yeah, because I think I want to get both of these. I guess that means I should probably get these ribbons first. So we got a little ribbon here, probably another one over there. Body somewhat in the way again. So let's go ahead and get those cute little ribbons. Okay, so one of those is white. I just did placeholder red for now. Okay, I'm gonna leave them placeholder red for a little bit longer. And I'm gonna smooth this out. So we'll just go ahead and get these little ribbons here before I go do more hair. And I want them a little bit more on top of each other for perspective reasons. I really want to make it look like her head is coming forward a bit. So this is gonna go like, if we think about perspective here, it's gonna go, instead of, you know, just like that, you know, a front square, it's gonna be like this, where it goes way down. It's gonna be like conical, and then we see the top here. So it's gonna angle way down like that. And thus, the ribbon must be on top of each other in order for that to make sense. And okay, it looks like I killed this ribbon a little bit here, so I'll go put him back in. Let's see, where is he going to connect roughly? The head is tilted this way, so it'll be a little bit lower than these ones, so probably like... Let's see. Right about here, I think. I think right there is going to be a good spot for it. And that'll be where the other ribbon goes. And I will clear it from the head later. I'll just go ahead and render the whole thing. It's really not that much trouble. Okay, how do I want to do this? Let's go ahead and color this bottom one white, just so I can see the difference. There we go. Now I should be able to draw both of these easily. So this ribbon will be staying on top of her head, because this strand of hair you can see is in front. So ribbon also in front. Whereas this strand is behind her head, so thus this also behind. Sometimes perspective is that easy. I've been paying a lot of attention to perspective lately, because I like it lots. I think you can do some very cool and stylish things with it. So I want to continue doing very cool and stylish things with it. I want to be able to get weird with my perspective, and because I don't know, I think Well, when you can get weird with perspective, you can do some very interesting things, and I think it's very expressive. And if I can get really, really good at it, and so, to the point that I can draw it fast, I think I can do some pretty cool things with my future comic. I have ideas. I also have ideas just for general illustration drawing too, so. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and draw a little bit of this ribbon on top of the other ribbon, and then I'll switch it back after. But I just want to make sure that I know where I'm going with this. And so I think that this is easier than trying to guess. So I think this ribbon's gonna do something like that. And now I know exactly which parts I need to erase and which parts I need to keep. And I think that is way easier than trying to figure all this out without knowing where this ribbon will fall. And the beauty of digital is that I can just draw over this with no problem. I have two different answers to that question. So, like, strictly speaking, I learned how to draw really long time ago. Very, very long time ago. And I drew off and on heavily. So that would have been, you know, like, yeah, probably about 20 years ago. But I drew off and on heavily. So I'd go, like, years where I didn't draw anything, and then, you know, periods of months where I drew a lot, and that kind of thing. I started drawing, like, every day, and taking it a little bit more seriously, probably about 3 or 4 years ago. And that's when I really felt like my skills started to ramp up. Heck yeah. So you can accomplish a lot in a short period of time. If you try really hard. Oh, I do very little studying. I just draw pictures. At some point, I might do proper studies. I do the occasional photo study, but not very often. I just draw pictures, and I try to make the next picture a little bit better than the last one that I did, and I try something new every time. I don't study. I just draw. I think it's a good way to be. I guess that's not entirely true. But, sometimes I do listen to other people talk about art, and it gives me ideas. You know, things I can try. Different perspectives to think about it with, and whether I agree or disagree. And I do think that tutorials can be useful if you find yourself getting stuck. Like, if you just want to do something. But I don't think tutorials are good to copy. I think they're just good to get ideas from, and then you kind of interpret that into your own, what you want to do, more or less. So. Alright, there we go. 2 ribbons. Are they good sizes? This one might be a little big, actually. Okay. I'm gonna have to do some cutting up of things. Always a little unfortunate, but it's okay. Actually, I wonder if I can keep it cleaner. I'm trying to use selections better than I have been in the past. Okay, yeah, I can keep it a little cleaner. That's nice. I don't want them to line up quite so perfectly, though. That's kinda... no. Okay, that's pretty good, though. And then I just have to fix this ribbon. Which Phase Connect girl do I watch the most? Varies heavily, depending on my mood and what they happen to be streaming, but in general, I like Roni Ruse and Pippa. They're probably my favorites. And lately I have been watching a decent amount of Malice just because I think our energy is somewhat similar. Of just the, you know, more... The more calm type. So I feel like I've been able to learn a lot about what I do from her. So... But I think that my favorite out of Saga is probably Nitty. I just don't have very much time to watch people, and lately I've been watching more Variance Project than I have Phase. I kind of like what Variance is going for here, and I'm really curious to see how they bring their world into the streams. Right now they're not going quite as heavy on it as I would like, but there's times. There's times when they're able to really go into it. There's been a couple of collabs that have been really interesting to watch, and so, you know, I am curious to see what they do with it. Okay, does that look better? I think so. This one's big. I'm gonna shrink them down. Just trying to line it up with the angle of the eyes here. I don't think it's gonna be exactly the same. Just because this is hair, and this hair is resting on her shoulder, so I think that'll push it up a little bit. But I still want to kind of keep the angle of her head in mind here, since that is going to be pulling on her hair. So it'll be pulling this side up and this side down. And that's just kind of how I'm thinking about it. And her shoulder's not visible right now because I thought her body was kind of getting in the way and making it hard to see things. But, I am keeping it in mind. Oh, very nice. I do like Lumi a lot, too. She is extremely multi-talented. And I have to say that, Urika's violin covers, I listen to them off stream a lot when I'm working on something. So I do like her a lot too. Oh yeah. I'm with the gang that hopes that someday she'll multi-stream to YouTube because I'm a dirty VOD watcher. So it just makes it easier to find him. Yes, for Lumi. I know she streams on YouTube sometimes, but the fact that it's only sometimes is what can make things hard to watch. And but in general, I mean, I don't have time to be watching a lot of things. It's unfortunate. I am making too many things. I do often have some streams running in the background while I'm drawing off stream, though. Probably won't be able to do that while I write, because trying to write words while listening to words, terrible mix. Terrible, terrible mix. Yeah. Well, in my case, I have kids, so... I cannot typically alter my schedule to show up to things live. You're still a little big. I think you are. There is some pretty strong perspective going on here. I think that's a little bit small though, so let's back it up. Oh no, that actually looks pretty good right there. Okay. Okay, and then when it comes time to render her head, I don't think I want to do that until I render the rest of her hair, so I'm gonna hold off on that. Although, you know, thinking about it, maybe I should just do this side and then this side later. No. This is fine. This is fine. Okay, so I think I'll just go ahead and finish off the ribbons. So let's see, this one is gonna have little white stripes. Let me see, what do you look like? Yeah, you got a little white part in the middle there. Hehe. Alright. There is reasonable evidence to suggest that is true. I do believe that there have been studies on it. So let's see, I know... Actually, you know what? I'm gonna kinda define very roughly where I want my ribbon wrinkles to go. Just so that this way, I can move these stripes here down them a little bit better. There we go. Now they're wrinkling with the ribbon. And then I'll just go back in and paint them properly in a little bit. Okay. Let me back up a little. Yeah, I want to make sure that they fold with the wrinkles. But I think something like this should look pretty alright. Okay. So there we go. That's the multicolored one. And now, let's just start putting all the decorations and stuff on this guy. This one I think ended up a little longer than I intended, but I don't think it looks bad, so I'm gonna roll with it. This will define the edges of the ribbons there, and now I'm thinking, which side of the ribbon do we see? I think we're looking at her from somewhat above, based on how I have the cake drawn, and we see a lot of the top of her head, for example. So, let's go ahead and do it like this. So that means we won't see any of this one here, and then I can just draw in my little ribbon folds. I always feel like those little ribbon folds are what brings ribbons to life. And we see this side of the ribbon. There we go. This side will have less ribbon folds just because they're all kind of underneath. Underneath this ribbon, I mean. Okay, and this one I already kind of have it drawn out there, so... Top of the ribbon. Side of the ribbon. There we go. Yeah. It's amazing how big of a difference some of those little things can make. Sometimes art terrifies me because I just look at things that I think are really good, and I've been trying to place why I think certain things are good. And how many of them just come down to really cool, arbitrary tiny details that most people won't even notice is terrifying to me. Okay, now I need to work out any straight or curved lines I accidentally put in, because everything must be very straight. Straight lines only for the style. It makes things way more dramatic. Way more dramatic. So I feel like there's still a couple of little curved lines in there, and I have to say no, because they are forbidden. Not allowed. I always have to fight my nature with this style, because I just always want to put the occasional curved line in there, but I just have to say no. I'm going for something very specific there. And it means no curved lines allowed. Straight lines only. Okay. So at this point, I'm just making it clean. That's kind of the simple joy of rendering. It's very brain dead for me. Because at this point, I feel like I have basically everything drawn already. So now I just gotta make it look nice. Makes it much easier to chat when I already have all the decisions made. Because then I don't have to think as hard. And I can just keep my hand going and focus on what the chat is saying. Works out very nicely. Okay. So at this point, let's see, I think this should be filled in actually. Oops, not with red though. With black. Okay. So that's the top ribbon. The bottom ribbon is mostly in shadow, so it'll be a nice, easy one to do. And I just want to make it look a little bit more wrinkly. So I put these little bumps in there, and that kind of gives the impression that I want it to. But in terms of a lot of art, I think just relying on a lot of somewhat arbitrary things. I just remember this was in regards to game development and game design. But there was a video out there that was taking a super basic Breakout game. Breakout being the classic arcade game where you have this paddle at the bottom and there's a bunch of bricks at the top, and you not use the paddle to knock the ball into the bricks, and then it bounces out the bricks and comes back down. So they took that and then just started adding all these little things to it. And they were tiny little things, like background music, some sound effects when the ball hit the paddle, colors, and certain effects when he did a good job, and that kind of thing. And the difference by the end was massive. Like, it was unbelievable. It was really cool to watch. I liked it a lot. It was definitely one of the best game design lectures I've ever seen. I wish I could remember what it was called, because then I'd go find it and put the link in the chat, but it was really great. And increasingly, when I look around at things, I think this is true for nearly everything, of just the tiny details that stack up. Because I've been looking around at Live 2D rigs, for example, and VTuber models and whatnot, and some of the little tiny things that go into making them look good. Incredible. Just tiny things that can make, like, the earrings look a little bit more three-dimensional. The shake of the hair when they turn their head a little bit fluffier and nicer, and all that stuff. And it's a lot of it is just so tiny. It's the kind of thing that I don't think anybody will ever notice consciously, but I think you'll notice it subconsciously. I do. And so sometimes it's a little bit scary for me. Just thinking about how many little things really do make a difference. They really do. I don't think it's a bad thing, but it does get a little intimidating at times. But at the same time, it kind of makes me feel vindicated for my perfectionism. Where I just want every little detail to be as wonderful as I can try to make it. Just why I'm spending a bunch of time with these tiny ribbons. I probably shouldn't worry about anything that's going to be on top of the face, though. I'll worry about it a little bit, but I gotta stop myself, because otherwise I will care about all these little things. You gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. What my main art goal for this year is I want to draw faster. I want to work on my speed. And that does not play well with the desire to make everything look really perfect. So, I gotta watch myself. And in order to try to meet that goal, I have been paying very close attention to anything that slows me down. Just anything at all. So, you'll often hear me talk about the things that are slowing me down. It's not really a criticism of myself. It's just me paying very close attention. So that this way I can meet my own goals. I like how these little ribbons just look like tiny candies. They're very cute. I haven't. I unfortunately don't have very much time to watch a bunch of stuff on YouTube, so I don't watch very much of him. I've watched a few videos, but not a lot. Are there any art YouTubers that I watch on a regular basis at this point? I don't think there are. I guess the closest would probably be Viora. She is actually like an amazingly fantastic businesswoman, and I feel like I have a lot I can learn from her. I'll type it. One moment. There you go. So she mostly likes to do art challenges and stuff. But, I do ultimately describe her strength as being an excellent businesswoman. So she just does a lot of variety things. All right. Okay, before I did all that, I probably should have smoothed that out up here. Whoops. Oh, well, that's fine. I just forgot about this little part. Alas, poor little part. Sorry about that. Sorry about that little part. There we go. Okay, but that looks fine. Oh yeah, I have to give you your black line around. Actually, I think there's something I want to change on this side. I want you to stick out a little bit right here. And right here too, for that matter. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Now I can go back and put the black lines around here, and that'll be it for these ribbons. Then I'll just go back and start finishing the hair. I always like to get the things that are on top first, because then I know which areas I can kind of ignore from underneath. Yeah, more or less. I'm making them look a little crunchier. So the folds here kind of push it out a little bit. And if this was an ordinary thing, I might have considered putting a line there, but I think I prefer it like this right now. So I'm gonna put some thin little lines around the white part, just thin ones, just to kind of separate them. That's just kind of the nature of this particular style. It's funny, I don't normally do line art of any kind, but ever since doing like this kind of style, and I have a style kind of inspired by stained glass, I've been putting a lot more lines on things, and I have actually gotten decently quick at it. I still do lines last though, because I do not use lines to sketch, I just sketch in blobs of color. It's much easier for me. I like doing that. Okay. So this is strictly a stylistic choice. But I think it's important to be very deliberate about stylistic choices. Because when it comes down to it, I think a person's art style is just the summation of the various little choices that they make. Okay, and there we go. So let's see here. I'm gonna turn her head shadows back on. Just because she looks a little bit scarier without them now. Noseless and just... Alright. Let's see. So we're gonna have blue-haired Bibi for a little bit longer while I smooth out the hair here. I want to be zoomed out while I worry about how it connects from back here. What does it look like on her? Because basically this part is this little strand, and now I'm worried about this little strand. Where does it come out from? Okay. Yeah, I can see it. Let's see, I think I actually want to rotate this a little. So right now, everything is a little bit curved. And, you know, I have established that curves are forbidden in this style. So I need to get rid of those. No curves allowed. None whatsoever. So now it's time to turn those cute little curls that I put on, so this way I could, understand the structure of her hair. I actually would find the hair somewhat difficult to understand if I tried to make it all straight lines immediately. A little bit more difficult to draw. But now that I feel like I've gotten most of those details down, I can go through and make my very deliberate stylistic choice of turning them all into highly angular things. Highly, highly angular. And just work out all those little curves. I think it makes it look much more dramatic. And I feel like everything about this style is just pure drama. Unfortunately, it's actually pretty easy to do. Even though I don't see hair as flat and angular, you can still kind of make out everything, even when I do make it super sharp and angular. The real question is, when I finish all this, will she still be cute? I still want her to be a little bit cute. I feel like cute is her brand, so... But I don't know, I still think she's kind of cute. Even if she is force-feeding you cake. I don't know, is a girl force-feeding you cake cute? Yes, exactly. I see. I'm not familiar with it. Like, my media... Well, I shouldn't use that term. My knowledge of modern media is basically zero. It is deeply unfortunate. I just do not have time to watch a lot of things. Okay, and for this one, I think I want it to come down and then in. And it'll all kind of meet together in the ribbon. Yeah, that's good. I think that follows the general flow of her hair nicely. Even though I am turning it into straight lines. Okay, no problem. I do describe it as a shame that I don't get to watch a lot of things anymore. Just because I do think that stories and fiction are a great way to explore ideas. You know, some of it does it better than others. But I think it's a great way to explore ideas. And I'm always happy to see people doing these things. Phew. No, I don't quite like that. Let me pull up my Bibi reference here. Oh, wait, is this a braid? Oh ho. Okay, that changes things. No, I never watched Wreck-It Ralph either. I'm vaguely aware of it through cultural osmosis, but not really. Yeah, I didn't realize this was a braid. Okay. I am gonna have to change some things then. Apologies, like I said, I am clueless. I like the rock I live under, it's very comfortable. I get the feeling that the stuff I end up getting knowledge about in the future is going to be based entirely on what my kids like to watch. I guess that's already true, because I do have decent familiarity with Sprunky. Because that's what they like. They really, really like Sprunky, and I have mixed feelings about this. I have learned more about content farms than I have ever wanted to know. Okay, how do I draw braids again? I ask myself this every time I have to draw a braid. Okay. So general shape, I think I want it to come out like this. There we go. Yeah, I think that works. I think that'll look fine once I kind of clean it up. I'm going to focus on the edges for now. So I'm not going to clean up the middle just yet, but I will start getting braid shapes in there. It's okay. This is why we use reference. Reference will save your life. It'll make your life so much easier, so don't be afraid to look up the things that you're trying to draw. I swear, you never know what something actually looks like until you attempt to draw it. Never. Because you just need to see a whole new world of detail in order to draw something accurately and nicely. Alright, there we go. So I think that's sufficiently braid-like. I don't know, maybe this guy's sticking out a little bit too much. Let's pull him back just a little. And then I can have this guy stick out just a tad more. Okay, that should look pretty good once I go and clean it up. Okay, and then the bottom part is just a little tail. Just a little tail. And most of this is going to be underneath stuff. I'm going to trust what I drew here. So I'm going to assume that the cute little curl that I got there comes up here. And actually, I don't know where this hand is going to be, so I guess I might actually draw this part later. I mostly just wanted to get up here. So yeah, I think this will be about right. And I'll clean up a lot of this after I smooth out her head, I think. But I'll go ahead and get it started. I will go ahead and get it started. I see. Hello there, Pierre, and thank you. Earth is lovely. I think space is lovely too. I think my universes are lovely. But Earth has its own charm. I like it a lot. Right now, I am trying to turn hair more angular than you might expect. But it is appropriate for this particular art style. It makes things much more dramatic. And I feel like everything about this picture is dramatic. Well, thank you very much. I do like to draw things. It's a good time. I enjoy it quite a lot. Okay, now back to figuring out the braid on this side. But how do I want to do that? I think the center of it is going to do something like this. Okay, I'm gonna start getting the shapes in, but I'm not really gonna hammer it out until I am ready to start on the but until I finish smoothing out her head, basically. This is fine for now, I think, and I will start getting the little tails out here, though. But this part I'm not gonna draw until I do the hands. So this is going to be fairly rough for a little while, but that's all right. Well, thank you very much. Oh yeah, I guess I should do the YouTuber thing. I have a personal goal of trying to get 500 subscribers by the time my anniversary rolls around in May. So if you could like and subscribe, help me out with the algorithm, I'd appreciate it a lot. So thank you both for doing that. Okay. But yes, please help me get... And the notification bell on, of course. But help me get adopted by the algorithm. Actually, I think this should be this angle. Yeah, that's better. I do plan to try. I do like some puppet animation, like all of my VTuber model, my start screen, my end screen, all of my stream assets and stuff I all made myself, so I do a little bit. I'd like to do more. I just need to get around to it, and also draw faster. Oh, I see. Yeah, go for it. As long as it's okay, you know? I don't want to make anyone angry. Okay, I think that's good there. I think I have her lower hair defined well enough that I can finally, well, maybe not quite, but I'm real close to being able to turn Bibi's hair, back to brown instead of blue. And there should probably be one more coming out there. I don't know, can I make that work? I want to figure this out. Alright. Well, thank you for stopping by. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. And I will enjoy my time on Earth. Earth is pretty. There's lots of neat things here. Yeah, I think that's better. Okay. Well, in that case, I better smooth this out now. I don't have to get the inside exactly right, but I do kind of want the outside to be good. I'm not sure if it makes sense for... Okay, no, that hair is definitely behind the braid here. Okay, so this should be accurate. Okay, so all I'm really doing now is I'm putting some black spots where I think the shadow from the top part of her hair here will be on the lower part of her hair. And that is just so I know which layer things are on mostly. Because otherwise they will blend together and I will get very confused. So this will help me understand the structure of it all just a little bit better. And I am not too worried about it all being the right color for the time being. It's fine. I just want to make sure that nothing kind of starts merging with each other once I re-invert the colors on this. Now, see? It's really easy to tell which hair is here and which hair is down here. So easy. I want the shadow to be a little thicker. I'm just going to take care of that now. Okay, and now I should have a clear idea of how to smooth things out. Alright, so since I moved some stuff around, I do have to kind of move my shadows around, unfortunately. I will still plop some stuff down here. Oh, I do not have the layer locked. That's actually like the whole reason I like... Actually, do I like this? Yeah, I think I do. Okay. But the reason that I focus very hard on the outside before going in on and doing the inside is just so that I can lock the layer and not have to worry about it anymore. I'll probably line this properly later, but I want to get a little bit of it down here. And so here, I'm kind of messily sketching in where all the little structures of the hair are. So I'm kind of separating out all the strands and all that good stuff. So that this way, once I zoom in and start smoothing it all out, I can trust what I drew and I don't have to be zooming in and out constantly. It's just easier to see the big picture when I'm zoomed out like this. Yeah, that's from the eye. I think this all looks fine. Just want to change the angle of this one a little bit. But otherwise, I think it's all pretty okay. This was a mistake, but I kind of dig it, so... Okay, no, I lied, I don't. Alright. So I want to make sure that I have a few other strands and stuff in there to make everything look a little bit more like hair. And this part should actually be coming up here like this. Taking a look over here when it's convenient. Just to kind of help me keep the structure accurate. So let's add a thick shadow there. This line will have to be a little bit straighter. I think I actually have to affect the outside for that. So I probably have to go in and touch that up a little bit. That's okay. I can do that. It's really no trouble at all. Alright. So something like that should be pretty good. And then just add in the occasional little bit to make it look more like hair, and make sure all these strands are properly separated out the way I want them to be. So far, I think I did most of it last time, so I think it's mostly looking pretty good. I'm just kind of touching up the parts that I think need it. But yeah, this all looks very nice to me. I think here might need a few more strands and stuff. I'm not quite sure how I want to do that. So let's try things. Let's just try things and see what looks good. So far, nothing. It's okay, that happens sometimes. It's all good, I'll figure it out. There's nothing quite like just a little bit of flailing. So I think her actual hair does something like this, where this bit kind of overlaps. So maybe I can do something with that. And I'm trying to keep my lines pretty dang straight here. Just because I know at some point I'm going to have to go straighten them out anyway. And I'm kind of at the stage where I understand most things. And at this point, I'm just trying to find what I think looks good, and we'll finish off everything here, so I don't see the point in having too many a curved line. Okay, yeah, that's all good. And over here. Let's see, we'll get a little bit more shadow underneath the ear here. This guy's gonna be... You know, I think I can put him entirely in shadow, actually. Probably some... I mean, there's definitely gonna be some going around it. I just haven't put them in yet, and I don't really want to until I smooth it out, since they're effectively gonna be an outline. That does remind me that the ribbon here needs a cast shadow. There we go. But otherwise, I don't know. Maybe a little bit. Just a little bit from the top there. That's why it reminded me that I needed to put that shadow there. And this hair is actually kind of going this way, so a couple little strands will kind of help that out, I think. Nah. Okay, just that one. Just that one. And this kind of thing I largely do by feel. On what feels right and what does not. So just one of those little arbitrary art things. Okay, but I think that looks pretty okay. I'll go ahead and do the lower part of her hair here. We'll get that feeling okay. I think the braid part already feels pretty okay. Get some little shadows in there. I actually didn't realize that those were tiny little braids until I looked a little bit more closely. So, I'm glad I looked a little bit more closely. Okay, and then at some point I want to fix the structure of this a little bit more, and I think it is not yet time, so I'm not going to worry about it. And when it comes to these guys over here, I'm not going to do that until I do the face. So it is not yet time there either. Alright. Time to go finish some anime girl hair. I swear. Yeah, I know, they're just little tiny things right here. I was very surprised. But yeah, I think half of an anime girl's body weight is her hair, so it typically takes a little while for me to render it all. And let's see here. I'm gonna hide her head shadows real quick, just so I can... how do I want to do this, actually? Because I don't think I should hide the head shadows, actually. I changed my mind. Okay. Yeah, this is fine. Basically, if I hid the head shadows, I might be able to see the edges a little bit more clearly, but then I'd also see a bunch of things that are going to be next to the head shadows, like this strand, for example. So this one doesn't need an outline, because it is already next to this big area of blackness, and an outline would just make it look thinner, and you wouldn't see it, so it'd be a lot of wasted effort. The only reason this gets some is because it has a lower part down here. It is true. I just prefer drawing girls, so I tend to relate all things in terms of anime girl. All right. Okay, so now much like with the ribbon, this is just when I go over things and make it all very smooth and control the angles of all my lines and the line widths of everything, and, well, you know, it's just a time. It takes a little while, especially considering how much hair they have. Well, I mean, there's a lot of anime girls out there, so it's kind of hard to say. That is perhaps a little bit too broad. Of the ones that I've drawn, which have been the easiest and which have been the hardest? I'm trying to think. Were there any that were particularly hard? Because, I don't know, each of them kind of had their own challenges. It's like, for example, when I was drawing Crony from Hololive, she doesn't have very much hair, so I didn't have to draw a lot of hair. But she has ridiculous proportions, so I had to figure that out and make it work with how I like to draw things. And that was interesting. She was maybe a little bit less than, you know, her typical 90% leg. I had her maybe closer to 70% leg. So, you know, that was easy hair. I didn't have to spend very much time on the hair, but it had a different challenge, so I don't know. I kind of feel like that's how it is with everything that I do. Because I pretty much never make things easy for myself. It's not how I roll. And frankly, I think it's a good way to be. It's like a lot of my streams, I'm never gonna finish a whole picture in one stream. And, you know, that's fine. But I like being sweaty. I like being a sweaty artist. I like putting everything I have into every drawing. It feels good. It feels real good. Alright, let's get this white part. I'm not gonna worry about kind of bleeding into the black area. It's kind of inevitable. I just gotta keep my strokes nice and even here, so that this way I can get the lovely straight lines that are necessary. How does her bang work here? Yeah, this should be fine. Okay. I was debating on whether or not I had to change something here, but no, I think this works. I do. Okay. So yeah, I was debating on whether or not I wanted this white part to go all the way up to the shadow there, and I decided that it probably wasn't necessary and that what I drew is fine. So we're gonna have this go like this. This works for me. It's gonna get real close though, and some parts of it might touch. I just don't think it particularly matters either way. As long as I have the lovely straight lines that I'm going for here. And that the hair looks nice and edgy. Very edgy. I am actually not especially good at drawing straight lines, so I try to focus carefully whenever I'm going in there. I think for just a little bit before I go ahead and draw it, of where I'm going with this. Actually, this part here should go like all the way to the edge. There we go. I think the only reason it was brown for a second there was just because of how I outlined things and smoothed out everything. Because I often don't care about the colors while I'm smoothing things out. It keeps things simpler. This way I can just lock the layer and then go back and smooth things out. I stream at this time every day. So, if you look up at my waiting rooms, I try to put the next one of a given series up once I finish the previous one. So after I finish this one today, I'll put up the waiting room for the next Bibi one, and that will be on Wednesday. But otherwise, yes, I stream something every day. I have 2 drawings going, and then on Tuesday and Friday, I do games. But yes, for any new people lurking, I do stream every day at the same time. Lately, I've been mostly doing Metroidvanias. It is probably my favorite subgenre. And in general, I like going around and exploring in games. So, I will probably play a lot of things with a exploration focus. Right now, I am playing Ender Magnolia, and it is fantastic. I haven't yet. I have heard of them, though. Alright, I'll look into it. Okay. Yeah, my tastes are very indie right now. I just feel like a lot of the high budget games aren't really doing anything especially interesting. So, always happy to have something like that to maybe go take a look at. And I'll see how I feel about it. But that did look interesting when I kind of checked it out before. I know very little. But I also try to go into the games that I play like as blind as possible, so... That's why I tend to not look into things unless I am, like, actively looking for stuff to play. Or, I've kind of already decided that I'm gonna check it out. Yeah, there we go. That one took a few tries, but I think that looks pretty good. Alright. So there we go. I'm probably like halfway through the front base. The joy of rendering. Okay, and I want to put a thin black line around the white part here. I trust. I believe in what I drew. So I'm gonna do that. And it's just gonna be a tiny little guy here. I don't want it to be too strong. This I'm clearly not going to get down in one stroke, so it's fine. I'll just treat it very carefully. I have the angle of that totally wrong. There we go. That's better. I'm trying to get a little bit better about doing things in 1 or 2 strokes. Because I think that's another one of those things that will speed up my process a little bit. If I'm able to get good at drawing the straight lines. Odds are if I play it, I would play them in the release order. That tends to be how I go. Because I like seeing the evolution of a series. It's like whether or not I do all of them, you know, it depends on how much I like the ones that I do play. But yeah, I pretty much always do things in release order. Unless there's a dang good reason not to. Alright, I'll keep that in mind. Okay, and there we go. I think that's all looking good. Rendering truly is such a slow and careful process for me. As much as I would love to get into drawing her face here, I do like getting the hair down first, because hair often covers the eyes a little bit, and once I have the hair down, then I can know which parts of the eyes that I don't have to care as much about. So, I do just kind of like getting those things down in this order. But anime girls have a lot of hair. So much hair. It's like every time it's time to come do hair, I'm just ready to drown in a mountain of it. But I do think it is worth being careful with, because anime hair is so fluffy and nice. And nice hair can really make the picture just look so much better. But oh boy, does it take a sec to get through it all. I see. Ooh, if it's for consoles I don't have, that might make it hard. Or rather, consoles that are hard to stream. I might have to skip some then, which is always a little bit sad. Oh, I see. Okay, cool. Okay, I think I'm gonna put in this one after I kind of figure out what I'm doing with all of this. Then I can get some of those little strandy bits in there. I do plan to put a lot of loose strands on this. I think it'll make her look a little bit more unhinged. And that is kind of what I'm going for this picture. But I like to have everything kind of figured out before I start adding loose strands to hair. So her hair is going to look a little bit messier. Even just looking at her model. Just looking at the model here. Can I draw FNAF characters? I will probably never draw FNAF characters. It's probably within my abilities, but it's probably not going to be something I ever do on stream. I mostly draw anime girls. I'm not super interested in drawing anthropomorphic characters. It's okay. We all have different art interests, and the style of the characters in FNAF are just not my thing. Oh yeah, I'm not knocking the quality of it at all. It's fine. It just comes down to character design tastes. We all have things we like to draw. And the closest I get to drawing animal people are, you know, girls with dog ears. All right. Okay, I guess I'll go ahead and finish off this side first since I'm here. I don't think it particularly matters, and I'm already here, so sounds good to me. But slowly but surely, I'm getting through the whole thing, so yay! God. So much hair. Gonna be seeing hair in my nightmares again. Unironically, I do typically have some hair-based nightmare every time I go and render the hair in one of these, so probably will be seeing hair in my nightmares. It's all good, it's still worth it. I don't know, do I like that? No, not really. Okay. I'll put in the shading for this section after I kind of know what everything else looks like. And then I can zoom out freely again. It is. There's just a lot of it. I think it's worth it though, because, you know, especially when it comes to anime hair, it all looks really, really nice when you get it right. There's just a lot. Okay, for this I kind of do gotta turn off the head shadow for a moment because I don't think I got the outside of that quite right. I see what I was going for. Okay. And hello there, pizza. Welcome. All right. Well, thank you very much, and thanks for stopping by. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Good luck with all the other stuff you gotta do. Okay, but now I see what I'm going for. Now I can turn this back on safely. Thank you very much. Okay, and this is not an area that needs black outline since the black around her face is so strong and already there. So I'll just move on to the next group here, and what am I doing there? Okay, that's just a hole. So I'll go fill that in. Okay. Occasionally, when I'm smoothing things out, I miss a spot. And it just leaves a little hole there that I gotta fill in later. Let's see, were these supposed to be connected? I think they are. Ambiguous, so I'm gonna hide the shadows again, and yeah, those are definitely supposed to be connected. I think I just have this guy's little strand coming through there. I think it looks good there, so I will leave it. Actually, I need to check something. Yeah, this part has hair going through there, and then there's head shadow for the rest. So that tells me that none of this should have black outline. Okay. So basically, if there's black around something, I don't feel the need to put a black outline around the thing, because you can see here, it kind of looks like it has an outline since this whole area is in shadow. And adding a black outline to that would just make the strand thinner, and that's just not what I want here. So I do try to be cognizant of where I have black areas going around things. That's also why I tend to do the outlines last. But this is hair, and hair is a pain, so I'm just kind of doing it as I'm drawing. It's all good. I can do things in whatever order suits me. I'll get it all eventually. Okay, just trying to eliminate some of the curves here. No curves allowed in this art style. Exactly. Exactly. Sometimes you just gotta roll with it. Okay, and I think that's all looking pretty good. I forget exactly how much of this side needs to be in shadow, but I'm pretty sure some of it does. So that means all of it does. My hand is just making these lines a little bit too curved for my taste. Or more accurately, my tastes do normally include curved lines, so my hand got used to drawing the curved lines, and now I'm having to fight my instincts and say, no, I want to do it like this. So I'm going for something specific. Okay, that should be good. Alright, I think that's actually that entire side. Oh, nope, missed a spot here. I was gonna say, I think that's that entire side, but not quite. We got this little guy here. that needs a little bit more attention. There we go. Do not want to neglect any part of my hair here. Okay, and before I go to the other side, I do want a couple of like little strands coming out this way to show the direction of the hair, because it's a little bit different from everything else here, so I'm going to go ahead and draw them well zoomed out. Just so that this way I know I like it. Okay, I think that's good. And then I'll zoom back in and straighten it all out again. But I think that this will do a good job of showing the flow of the hair here. There we go. Oh, and I missed a spot here anyway. A little bit from the shadow of the ear, I guess. Okay. And then at some point I gotta add highlights to this. Alright. Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad you like it. It's been an experiment I've wanted to try for a while, and this is the second one I've done quite like this. And I think it's going really well. I like it a lot too. It's very dramatic. And I think it's doing exactly what I wanted to do, so I am pleased. Let's see, I'm going to move a couple of these guys around here. I think the shadow should be over here. There we go. Just lining things up a little bit better. I always like doing my initial shading while I'm zoomed out, so that this way I have really good perspective over the picture, but it does mean that where I place things is often a little bit imprecise. And thus, you know, after a while it comes time to zoom in and get the precision that I need in order to smooth things out properly. So that's all that this part is. I have the general gist. So now it's time to get the specifics. There we go. And then I'm just making sure, just for this style specifically, to work out any curved lines. I do not want any curved lines. They are forbidden. Oh. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Occasionally, Krita will have the cursor on top of my brush circle, and I find it really hard to read the brush circle with the cursor on top of it, so I have to get it off there. Doesn't happen very often. Let's see. Yeah, that's looking a little bit blurry. Blurry around the edge. Yeah, it doesn't happen very often for me. But it does happen sometimes. And always a little bit annoying when it does. But I like Krita. I think it's a good little program. I tried it once on a whim, and I have not felt the need to go use any paid program out there. I think it's very nice. Does everything I want. There we go. That's looking a little better. I'll just go ahead and leave the eyes off for now. I do kind of want the head shadows on, though. Let's see, I do have all this locked, right? Oh, no, I don't. Okay, yeah, because that's right, I was smoothing out an edge there. And I remember that I wanted this line to be slightly thicker because I thought we were seeing her from slightly above. And this will kind of give the impression of seeing the top plane of this hair. Sometimes it feels a little bit weird talking about hair like that, but I too see hair as just little balls of structure now, little rectangles like everything else. And I think it's made my hair look nicer since I've started thinking of it as just little bits of structure instead of a million tiny strands. I think it can be easy to get caught up in the details, but if you actually go look at people, unless you're like right in their face, you don't actually see the individual strands. You just see clumps. And it's kind of interesting. And then your brain goes and lies to you and tries to claim that that you see a million tiny strands. Because brains are liars and can't be trusted. It's okay, they're doing their best. But you still can't trust them. Okay. Yeah, you know, I think I'll actually be able to finish the hair today. That's nice, because that means I won't have to worry about the hair tomorrow. Or more accurately for this picture, Wednesday. I do a different picture on Mondays. I do. Or at least the amount of hair that I'm gonna do before I do the face. Yeah. Because there's a little bit on, like, the hair tied to her sides here. I have the layer hidden right now. But there's a little more to that, and I don't want to get all the stuff on the other side of the head, the bit over here, until I have her head figured out. So yeah. So I guess I should say the parts of the hair I planned on doing before the face. I do have the head shadows on still, right? I do. Okay, good. Oh yeah, and this side does not need... Oh no, it does. Okay. Yeah, once again, you know, if it overlaps a part that's going to be black, then I don't want to give it a line. But this part half overlaps her face, which is not going to have that black line. So the whole thing needs the black line. Otherwise, you know, if I didn't give the whole thing the black line and I just did part, we'd get something like that. That looks ridiculous. So... Okay, but that means I don't have to care about anything over here. So I can kind of clear this out a bit. This is blurry. I don't like it. I guess I missed it when I was cleaning up the edges this morning. And just for the sake of my own sanity, I do want to make sure that this is lining up with everything else. Because if I want to make any changes later, and there's this mysterious black thing stopping me from doing so, I'm going to be annoyed. So I just prefer to avoid. I feel like this is blurry too, so I'm just going to go ahead and do the line now. So I guess the edges of the hair here got a little bit blurrier than I expected after the fixes that I did. That's fine. It's easy enough to fix. Just go over them one more time and all is well. And all is well. No, it's because at the beginning I thought her head was a little bit fat, and I did a bunch of things to fix that. So I used transform tools, which do have a tendency to make things a little bit blurry around the edges. So don't worry, it's not the least bit unexpected. I just didn't notice it. Which means maybe I'm fixating on it a little bit too hard if I have to be zoomed in to 200% to see it. But that's fine. I still want to fix it. I just got to be aware of it. One of my personal art goals for this year is I want to draw faster. So I pay very close attention to anything that slows me down. And that perfectionism does slow me down sometimes. So don't worry, I'm not trying to be overly critical of myself or anything. I am just paying very close attention to what slows me down so that this way I can meet my own personal goals. I want to draw more things. And the easiest way to go about that is to draw a little bit faster. Okay, just straightening out this part a little bit. It got a little bit bent when I initially put it down. Now I think it's looking much better. And I think before I go any further up, I kind of want to loop back over here and fix the couple of strands I got here. Just because I feel like it. No other real reason. But it is kind of nice to know that everything over further to the right will be all done when I get over there. And that is a nice feeling. Okay. So yeah, almost there. There's not very much left to go at all. And then I think I just have the hair a little bit lower down, the little braid. And then part of what that feeds into, part of it I don't want to do until I do the hands, which will probably be the next thing I do after finishing her face. Or rather, the spoon will be, and then the hands holding the spoon. But I feel like her face, at least for this one, is like a good 2/3 of the picture. So the face and then this, I think is probably a good 2/3 of the picture. So once I get those done, it's like, man, it's going to be real smooth sailing from then on. I don't like the angle that this is coming out of. This needs to come down like this. Yes, that is much better. I want to make sure it's following the flow of the hair. And I think when I initially drew that, I was having it come out toward this strand. But this strand is on top of this one. So it needs to go down. This one can come out here, though. That's fine. That's totally fine. That makes sense, even. Okay, now I'm back to that strand that I decided to do after. after handling everything a little further right. All right. I think this is actually the last... Well, these two, I guess. Okay. But these are the last two strands on this layer. And then I just have that little braid and a little bit of extra hair. Ah, anime hair. It is so much. But it's okay. I got through it. You know, I always do. And then I get to look at it and... Well, that just always feels fantastic. Love looking at the stuff that I did after I do it. Okay, and I think that looks pretty good. So, last one here. Let's see, you're feeling a little curved. Let's straighten that. There's like a little tiny lump in the middle, and I don't like it. There we go. I just wanted it to be a touch smoother. Yeah, just a little one, but you know, that's okay. I still like to work out those tiny little lumps. I think it is important. There we go. That all looks a little bit better. And now I can just work my way all the way around. And once again, I'm making the line a little bit thicker on the top. Just because I think that we're seeing a little bit of her top side due to the angle that her head is tilted. And I kind of want to give that impression. I do feel like you can use things like this for either 3D effect or like extra shadows and stuff, and both work. Okay, there we go. I think that's it. Do I feel like I need like any additional strands or anything, or am I good there? Nope, I think that's pretty good. At some point I'll want to add highlights, but I think I'm going to go ahead and get this part first. I'm not going to do this side until I finish the hair, or the head rather, and I'm not going to do these lower parts until I have finished the spoon and her hand, since they are partially covering. But I will get this part. Okay. Braids will probably require multiple passes, though. Pass 1, understand structure. Pass 2, get the shadows kind of the way I want it in general, and then pass 3, kind of clean up extra strands and, you know, all this other good stuff. Sometimes it's easier to just look over things multiple times rather than try to get it all at once. Art is complicated. Bodies are complicated. Everything is complicated. Life is hard. Art is hard. So whatever it takes to make it a little bit easier. All right. So I will be adding the occasional little line there, and it is. I actually generally go as far as to say that anatomy doesn't really matter for beginners. But I think when a lot of people say anatomy, they mean proportions. Which, yes, that's important. And also very hard. I had a time wrangling it all in this picture. I did. It was quite the thing. Just because the pose is really complicated. But you know, me being the sweaty artist with no chill, I always like pushing what I can do, so I just decided to go ahead and do it anyway, and I am glad. I did have to make it a little bit simpler in the end, but still, I'm still glad. I like the way this picture's coming out. I think it's pretty nice. It's okay. I'm sure you'll get there eventually too. It took me a really long time to figure it out myself. But at least anime lets you cheat. Because, I mean, nobody really pays that much attention to a lot of it. I mean, if you want a famous artist example, just look at Crony Oro's VTuber model. She is like a head, then her breasts, and then legs. And somehow the artist makes it work. It's very impressive. I don't even mean that ironically. It's extremely impressive. I'm still not sure how he did it. Dude's good. Okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty good for pass 1, so now let's add in the extra shadows I think are necessary. Just to make everything a little bit more braid-like. Okay, and I think this is already next to black enough, so I think that's fine. So, I guess from there, let me check it. No, I think I want them to be a little bit bigger. Let's see. Maybe from about here. And I'll just go in, zoom in, and smooth that out a little bit more. And then it should look pretty good. Make sure I get rid of all the curves. Okay, and then a little bit back here. There we go. Yep, that looks pretty good. Okay. Back in, just to... And you can see, I wanted to figure it out with the big picture. But the big picture is a little bit imprecise, so now I just gotta go back in and clean it up. With the level of precision that I want. There we go, yeah, I think this is gonna be good. A little bit more emphasis in some of those shadows, and I think that kind of thing looks great. I do love me some strong contrast. Okay. Okay. We good? Yeah, I think we're good. Okay. Just a little right there. Okay. So now I can add in some strands, and braids are somewhat unique for me in that I like to kind of occasionally have some stuff going all the way through. I don't normally do that with hair, but I like doing it for braids. So I'm just kind of following the general structure of what I just put down and making sure it's clear what direction everything is going. And when I zoom out again, it should all look pretty good. I've had good luck with this method, so I definitely want to be going this way. It works for me. The main thing is that I just don't want each of the strands to be the same length and width. So I gotta make sure to vary it up a little bit, and that's what makes the hair look interesting. Okay. So yeah, there we go. That's perfect. Alright, so I'm gonna consider hair basically done there. Let's get highlights. Thank you. So I guess I can give her face back. There we go. And her body as well. I might take her body away again shortly, but for now, it can stay. Alright. How do I want to handle highlights? Honestly, I might save them until I have the rest of the hair done, because I might want to put some on these. Do I? You know, I'm not actually sure if I'm going to want to. Thinking about it for a second, but, I'm actually not convinced that I want to do that. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna save highlights for later, for when I have the rest of the hair done. So we'll get all that, and I think for now I'm gonna do strands, actually. No, that's also not true. Okay, never mind. I think we're good for hair for now. I just realized I definitely want to wait until I have these done before I do strands. So, but I want to give her hair a bit of extra loose strands, so that I think it'll make her look a little bit more unhinged. So, I definitely want to do that. Okay, body in the way again. Alright, let's go and render the face then. Gonna start with her head. You can see that, you know, I debate with myself about a lot of things a lot. Making decisions can be hard. This is, you know, a place where I'd normally have a bunch of curves, but curves are forbidden. So her cheek is going to be a little bit more angular than usual. And I don't think I have it in the right spot here. I'm going to hide the hair for a second. I think it needs to be a little bit higher. I think I want it to be a little bit more right here, where the corner of the mouth is pointing. And we're not going to worry about her head caving in a little bit here. It's all covered with hair, so it's fine. We're not going to worry about it. She doesn't need that part of her head. Who does? Everybody's brain will trick them into thinking that it's there anyway. Mm-hmm. One of those nice things about being the artist. You get to trick people into ignoring all of your mistakes. Or things that you were too lazy to draw. If you're good enough. I feel like part of being an artist is being gifted in the skill of illusion. Where you get to trick people into believing that this 2D screen is exactly what you want them to think it is. In my case, it's a girl smiling really widely at you, even though it's just pixels. Okay, so there we go. That's the side of her face, and now... I don't trust myself, so I'm actually going to use a mask. I'm trying to use transparency masks a little bit more. A little bit more, so that this way, if I change something, I don't have to redraw it. I can just alter the mask. Oh, that's the transform net mask, not a transparency mask. There we go. And then... there we go. Give her that ribbon back. Okay. And I will do the same with the hair here. Let's see, how do I want to do that? I think I'll just do it like this. Where are you? There you are. So we'll put the transparency mask there. And I will... it looks like it changed a bit, so I'm just going to go ahead and fill in some of this and make sure it's covering her face here. And then I will just add the mask to make it go away. And I think that is probably the easiest way I can handle this. There we go. Okay. But I still want to finish her face, so I'm gonna keep going. Okay. So since that mouth is going to be largely hidden in black, I do think I will do the head shadows first. The eyes, on the other hand, I will probably do them a little bit separately. So what I did in Malice that I thought worked really well, the previous image that I did in this style, was that I outlined the eyes in a visible color. So even the one over here is probably still going to be seen. And I thought it worked really well, so I think I'll do it again. So even though it is a black eyelash in a black area here, it's still probably going to be visible unless I just drastically change my mind. But I doubt that will happen. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, there we go. Just fill in everything here, make sure it's all good. And then the chin. I'm going to hold off on that part, actually. Because that is going to be guided by the bottom part of her mouth here. I wanted to go straight from here to here. So I need to know what this is shaped like. So I'll go ahead and clean this up now. Not going to worry too strongly about this side. This side was going to be completely lost. I only need to know it insofar as that I make the rest of her mouth look correct. So I'm not even going to worry about working out curves or anything. Okay, and I think that looks fine. So now we can get this big ol' smile in there. I'll worry about the teeth afterward. One thing at a time. Just gotta do one thing at a time. I always like overemphasizing the Cupid's bow in mouths that are supposed to look a little bit crazy. So that'll be the part of your mouth that does this shape. I think it makes him look just a little bit crazier. Okay. Is that good? I think it is. Yeah, then I just adjust this angle somewhat so that meets up in the right place on the shadow I just drew. And then I can go ahead and finish off that shadow. Yep, I think that looks pretty good. So I wanted to connect from the bottom of the mouth here. It's going to come out a little bit. This would be like where her lower lip is. And then it's going to come down and back out. This is where some knowledge of anatomy can be useful. But I just don't think it's a beginner topic. After a while, you'll probably want to know a little bit. But I think beginners have too many other things to focus on. And trying to learn your muscle groups is going to be a pain. So, I just don't think it's that important yet. Alright, now I can get the teeth in. I'm not going to do anything too special with them. Just get them in there. And it will show that the mouth kind of continues on. This is where, you know, having some knowledge of where this was going to go was important. But I didn't need to be too particular. Okay, that should be sufficient. And then I just smooth it. And we get it nice and smooth, and yeah, I have a little bit of time to do eyes. Oh man. I wasn't expecting that. I was figuring today was going to be like almost entirely hair, because hair is like that. It just always is. Yeah, eyes. We get to do the big anime eyes. It's like, hell yeah. I think I still have a few shadows I want to put on the head, but you know what? I think I'm going to do those after the eyes. I think I will. I think I just want to go in and do her eyes now. I hyped myself up. But I will do my due diligence and finish her teeth first. I do think that this is an important part of her expression, so I want to make sure they're good. And I don't want to get lazy just because I'm excited for the next thing. That would be an incredibly rude way to treat my poor little teeth here. Okay. Let's see. Now, I think I want them to go a little further back. So, that'll be something like that. Yes, that is better. Okay. It's okay. It's worth the effort to do it right. Then I want it to be a little bit less pointy, I think. And right, I have to remember I don't erase here. I use black. There we go. There we go. Okay, yeah, I think that looks pretty good. That's a nice little smile. Maybe not one I'd want to see in my nightmares, but... Okay, eyes time. So I'll turn off the shadow, and I will turn off the hair. We're gonna go bald for a little bit. And I'll go ahead and get those eyes. I think the shapes I have for them are both pretty good. So, I think I can just go in and start smoothing. I have a very particular way I want to do this. As always, you know, I gotta work out all the curves. No curves allowed. And like I said, I do plan, probably, to outline them in lighter colors, this way they will be visible against the inky black shadow in her face. So I will be drawing it without the shadow. Everything always just looks so much nicer after I smooth it out. It's lovely. Let's see. Work out where that eyelash is gonna go, and then just head on down here. Her eyes are a little bit wide. Maybe more than a little bit. So I want to make sure that impression is in there nicely. I thought about making them different sizes. I tried it a couple of times, but I just always preferred it like this. I think that this was the variation that looked the best. So I will just go ahead and do it like this. I think I can trust what I drew. Unless it is safe to stay totally zoomed in. Being zoomed in is dangerous. It's extremely dangerous. But you know what? It's alright. As long as I do my due diligence elsewhere, it's all good. And then I can just smooth things out all at once, and it's fantastic. And I like the way that these eyes are looking. I'll definitely have to throw in some cute little eyelashes. Bibi, even if I'm making her a little bit crazy looking, she must be cute. She must still be cute. Okay. So I think that's about it for here. I do like to draw the eyelashes, the eyelash points, the pointy parts, at the very end after I do both eyes. Oftentimes at a different layer because I don't trust myself. I don't always get it right the first try, so I like leaving myself some room to mess up. And I'm actually okay with the eyes being slightly asymmetrical. I do think it aids in making the character look slightly more crazy. I decided not to go hard on it, like I said before, but you know, going a little bit into it is fine. Oh, I need to hide the ears. Earsel. Keeping in my typos. Makes me laugh every time. I'm just very easily amused by these things. Okay. And eyes, I feel like, take a very long time relative to the amount of area that they take up in a picture. Just because, when it comes to anime especially, you don't mess around with the eyes. They must be perfect. So I like to take a lot of extra care with them. A lot. And I think it's worth just getting everything about them just right. as it will add so much to the final picture. I guess here, some of this is going to be covered with hair, but I want to make sure I know where everything is. Okay, I was checking the other eye for the width of each piece. And I made the lower eyelashes a little thicker than usual this time, but I don't hate it. So I'm going to see what it looks like this. And if I decide they're a little bit too thick, I can take it back later. I swear, eyes like this are just begging for some running mascara too, but I don't want her to look sad. But I'll have to keep that in mind for the future. That thought just kind of came to me. I will remember. Okay. Alright, I'm not going to go any further until I have hair and stuff back on. I probably should have turned it back on a little bit sooner, honestly, but that's alright. Okay. Let's see, I think this line needs to be a tad thicker. But the other side's looking fantastic. Then I just got a couple of spots up here in the upper lash, and I do think the upper lash needs a little bit more thickness here. In order to match up with what I did in the lower one, or the other eye, rather. But I think I got this. About the way I want here. Yeah, looks pretty good to me. Alright, let's go ahead and do some eyelashes. So once again, I'm gonna hide things. Because I kind of like knowing where they're gonna go. And normally I would make them very soft and curved, but I'm gonna have to work out all those curves. But I'm just gonna put them in normally here and see how it all shakes out. A lot of this is gonna be covered with hair, so I'm not gonna try very hard yet. I do enjoy my fluffy eyelashes. They make me happy. And I will render out the visible ones once I turn the hair back on. But I do like knowing where they are. Just to make sure I kind of have them all in the right place. Before I do that. I think it makes things a little bit easier. Indeed. Sometimes they do. Sometimes people like to put, like, entire freaking galaxies in their eyes. I typically keep mine pretty simple. I do think that this style is generally pretty simple, and I think it looks quite good that way. So I don't feel the need to put a bunch of stars and stuff in them. Mine are just gonna stay solid black. Actually, I'm not even gonna put any shading on them. Indeed. And thank you. I have a tendency to like to overcomplicate things. And I am very aware of my nature. So, I try to keep that in mind, and lately for at least a couple of styles. There are some styles that I do think it's worth going super complicated on, but at least for some of my styles, I'm trying to embrace the idea that less is more. One moment, there's something in... What are you? Are you part of the hair? Yeah, I got a little rogue piece of hair here. I see, that's where you're from. Okay. There we go, rogue hair. Deleted. I mean, for most people, they have, like, one, maybe two styles. But me, I have lots. Just because, personally, I kind of see stylization as a deliberate choice. So, you know, I can just tweak some levers and get some pretty cool things out of it. And that's what this is, because, you know, normally I do not use solid black for shadows. Normally I don't. That's, not common for me at all. But I think it works really well here. Alright, gotta invert the color on her head real quick, just while I kinda do the eye whites, and no, that's actually not helping me. Now I can't see the eyelashes. Okay, let's hide it then. Yeah, there we go. Neutral gray. That's exactly what I need. So this way I can see where the white goes. Okay, and unlike everything else, eyes are allowed to have curves. I don't think they'd look very good square. So there will be a curve there. There we go. And the eyeballs will be round as well. It is basically the one exception to the no curves allowed rule. Okay. Yeah, looking good. I think I can be happy with this. Okay. Let's go shade those eye whites. And like I said, at some point I do plan on making the, putting an outline around the eyelashes. So that will be visible. I'm not going to do it just yet. I kind of want to get everything else in first. And once again, normally I would care a lot that the eyes are the same size, or appear to be the same size. I don't care here. The one can be bigger than the other, it's fine. Just due to the nature of the expression here. Yeah, this one feels a bit smaller, but you know what? I'm gonna roll with it. I think it looks fine. And her pupils are gonna be super tiny. I don't think she has special pupils, does she? Nope. They are normal. Okay. And some of this stuff is going to be fixed a little bit later, actually. Yeah. This is fine. I had to think about it for a second. I'll leave it a little bit messy. I want to make sure that her gaze is correct before I get too deep into things. Because right now, I don't think I quite have her eyes in the right spot. And she's looking maybe slightly high. And that's not what I'm going for. Gotta give her smaller speculars, I think. Okay, let's give her the rest of her face back. And yep, still looking maybe slightly high. It's not quite right. Okay, so let's get her looking at the right place here. I'm gonna hide those pupils. Should I not shade the eyes then? Maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. Maybe I just need it a little bit higher. Let's find out. I think it's fine if it doesn't line up with the eye white. No. Okay. So yeah, I gotta keep no shading on the eyeball. Okay, good to know. I still want to keep a black ring around it. I think that's fine, but I haven't drawn it yet. But here we go. Let me align the gaze here. For that, I'm even going to turn the body back on. Let's get all the layers on here. I'm going to turn on everything. Okay. Okay, I'm not gonna be able to align this like this. Okay. I need to get the part where the eyelashes are in. Thinking about how to go about that. Okay, since the eyelashes are pure black, they are gonna be a hot pink for- okay, a bright cyan for a moment. Okay. And I will turn them back to black after. Okay. But now I can see. So I can get my little line going across the eyelashes. It's okay. Something similar to this happened with Malice 2. When I did the last drawing in this style. It is still relatively new to me, so I'm still somewhat figuring it out. And I think that's fine. Just means I gotta try a couple of things. And I certainly don't mind trying things. I have a bit of eye white coming out here. Definitely don't want that. Alright. Okay, there we go. All is well. So I'm hopeful that this will separate it from the inky blackness of everything else going around. And it will make everything a little bit more clear. I'll go ahead and do it with the skin, too, while I'm here. In that case, I might as well shade her hair. I was planning on doing that after the eyes. But I can do it now. Okay, there actually wasn't that much to do. So that's convenient for me. All this colored in. Yep, okay. And there, just to get that last bit of hair. It is not, strictly speaking, something that makes sense. Like, based on the distance the hair is, I should probably shade it down here more, but I think this looks cool. And that's way more important when doing anime-based illustrations, in my opinion. Being cool, way better than being accurate. Way better than being accurate. Okay, so that's all I gotta do there. And so now with the eyes in their nice big doughy form, gonna go ahead and lock the layer and put a little bit of her skin tone going around them. Pull them out from those shadows. Because I want her eyes to be clear, front, and center. And that's not going to happen if they're fading into shadow. So this is very much a choice. And this also does tell me that I might need to add some lines to some of these strands. That's alright, I can do that. Alright, I'm gonna have to go pretty soon, unfortunately. But I am pretty happy with my progress for today. I think that this is looking super fantastic. I am really looking forward to finishing it. Seeing what I'm able to do with this ridiculous pose that I picked. Something else. Yeah, I'm glad. I like drawing for the internet. I think it's a good time. And I always like showing all the messy parts of the process too. That's why I try to draw the entire picture on stream. Because I don't know, I think it's real easy to glamorize the process and make it look super easy. But it's not. Art is hard. And it takes a lot to make nice pictures. Okay, so that should do that there. Maybe a little bit messy here still. So now I should be able to fix her eyelashes. Okay, yeah, and the expression looks much better now. Let's see, she doesn't... Eyebrows aren't showing, are they? I guess they are a little bit, but I think she looks fine without them, honestly. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. Yeah, I mean... Okay, one of these days I'll finish a picture, and then you can see what the beginning of my process is like. It's something. It is. I run on pure vibes, and I just try to get my ideas down as quickly as I can. The beginning result is always terrifying. Ah, hello there, Tito. Welcome back. I feel like the expression is coming along now. Okay, now I'm gonna double check one last time. I really don't want shadows in the eyes, right? That feels weird. That feels strange to me. But she looks bad when I do this, right? Or at the very least, not as good. Yeah, no, it's way better like this. Yeah. Okay. I'll get my little lines going around then. I don't know, maybe I should use a stroke. No. I don't want the line width to be consistent, so I can't use a stroke. Sometimes when doing line work like this, I just use a stroke. But that only works if I want a consistent width all the way around, and I just don't here, so... Can't be lazy, gotta do it myself. Okay, so I'm just kind of working out the thickness here. I think it's fine if it's a little inconsistent. And I don't know, I kind of want to try another thing too. I am curious. Okay, but before I get curious, let's finish the other eye. And then I can try some things again. Let's see what happens. Always gotta try things. Life is better with a little bit of experimentation and science. Okay. So, yep, that's good. And now for my science. Okay. So what I want to try is I want to try putting a little bit of a ring around this. So I'm just going to leave it black for now. Actually, that's not bad on its own, but no, not what I'm trying. Okay, let's get what I'm doing before I get amused by things and try something else. 6 is gonna be too thick. Let's do 4. Hell yeah. Okay. I'm keeping it. Okay, but I also kind of liked one of the pupils being a little bit bigger, so I'm gonna make this one a little bit bigger. Cool. I like it. Let's do the specular highlights, and I need to stop, but I'll go ahead and get the specular highlights. I might end up putting a few more details on them here. We'll see. I think hers can still be very round, because she is still supposed to be cute. She is still supposed to be kind of cute. Okay. And then I do want some little black lines going around them. Alright, this will be the last thing. I might end up putting a few more details on there. We'll see how I feel about it. But I think this is pretty good. I think I can be pretty happy with this face. Alright, but this is where I gotta stop for today. Very happy with the progress. I like this face. It is wonderful. And I will go ahead and stop here for today. So, thank you all for coming. And I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. I will see you all tomorrow. Because, you know, for new people here, I do stream every day at this time. You can double check time zones. I post the waiting rooms every day. So they'll be up on the channel on the live tab if you want to double check the time. But I do come here. Same time. Every day. And I draw some things, and on Tuesday and Friday I play a game. So, yes. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Go make something wonderful. You can do it.